Is this a cat? What is this animal? If anybody knows what kind of bear I've got here. Hello and welcome. My name is Wildine. I'm the author in the forest. It is great to see you. Today we're talking about the 4 seasons of forest life. Still wearing my Team Tuva t-shirt. Hope you don't mind. Today we're talking about the forest. So I live in a, by Swedish standards, I would say a mid-sized forest. Excuse me. By like British standards, a huge forest. And I live right in the center. I'll show you where I live. I live there. Or there. If this is a forest, does this make sense? If this is a forest, I live like there. And I start my journey here. This is a main road, and I have to snake through the trees to get to home. Wait a second, I think there's a raccoon trying to get in. So, I live in the bullseye of this huge moose forest. I say it's a moose forest. There are a lot of moose here. We see them every few weeks, normally at quite a distance. I'm not very good at capturing them on camera, but they come through often at night time. They eat everything we ever plant. Wait a second, I'm just checking on the raccoon. Raccoon's staying outside. So the 4 seasons, there are 4 like very distinct seasons here in the forest, and I love them all. So let's start off with what we're in now, which is winter time, okay? Winter is an interesting time of year in the forest. It's cold. It's not anywhere near as cold as like the north of Sweden, which is more like Canada cold or Russia cold, but it's cold. It gets down to -25. That's cold, right? For me, that's cold anyway. We get a lot of snow. Right now, there's no snow on the ground, which is really bizarre. But a couple of weeks ago, we had like 4 feet of snow. Really good for cross-country skiing. My little boy was out sledging on stuff. The cat had trouble because his legs are not that long, so he was kind of like, I don't know what he was doing, like snowboarding around or snowboarding. He was managing. But we get a lot of snow. We have studded tires on our truck. We have 4-wheel drive. I do a lot of shoveling and a lot of like road repairs through the winter. It's mild right now. It's not frozen, so I need to repair my road. There's a lot of holes. I'll go out with a wheelbarrow and a spade. And the wheelbarrow is like full of gravel. It's called grus in Sweden. And often my little boy is on top of the wheelbarrow, which adds like another 15 kilos to my load. And he's got a very small shovel. He kind of helps me. He's terrible, honestly. He's the best kid in the world, but I'll be filling in these holes with my shovel, and he'll have his little shovel and just be like, he'd just be like flinging the gravel like on the lawn and in the bushes. So winter, but winter is a great time of year. A lot of people have difficulty with the darkness, and I totally get that, and maybe I do sometimes, but on the whole, I like the dark months because they're good reading and writing months, and there's nothing I like better apart from being with my family than working. I work a lot. I really enjoy working, so I often read more and write more in the winter month, and my books always come out in January, which is really nice because everybody needs something to look forward to, right, in January. So my books come out in January. I get to do publicity tours. I've just been back from 3 involving my launch and lots of speaking events and radio interviews up and down the country in the UK, which was really, really fun. Love meeting readers, love meeting booksellers. I enjoy talking about Tuva Moodysson. So I like winter. And then you get that great thing where you start to get more sun. So I should say between like end of November, end of January, we don't get any sun at all in the forest. The sun is obviously very low in the sky, and it doesn't rise above our tree levels. So even in the middle of the day, it's underneath the top of the tree levels. So it's quite odd. But now the sun's getting stronger, and soon we'll have snowdrops. And that's a very good thing. And then when it comes to March, April, normally the snows have gone here by end of April. And then we're starting to get daffodils. And moose do not eat daffodils, which is great. Thank you, daffodil people. So I enjoy spring. I enjoy bulbs here. I never really thought about them in the UK. You kind of plant the bulb and it comes up really, really fast. Over here you plant it in cold, drizzly kind of November, and you wait literally almost 6 months, and this tough little bulb has been under the permafrost, you know, under the frozen soil for 6 months, and then suddenly you get this explosion of colour, this riot of life, and that turns our forest clearing into, well, it looks kind of still like a bog, but with patches of yellow. And then the deer and the moose come in and they eat all of our crocuses, which is fine. They eat all our tulips, great. But the daffodils are tough, and the daffodils stay. I like daffodils. Anyway, so summer, spring. So I guess I'm talking about spring now. Spring is like April to June, is it? I don't know. Spring is beautiful here. I absolutely adore the spring. Nature just kind of goes into fast forward mode. It really does. Green shoots, birch leaves, dragonflies, birds coming back from wherever they've been holidaying over the winter time. I just love spring. Spring here is spectacular. It really is a riot of life and colour and rebirth, and I find it extremely enjoyable. And I don't have to cut the grass that much because it doesn't really grow. Okay, summer. So summer is that period, June-ish to September-ish, maybe. When's summer? Anybody know when summer? Roughly then. And summer, it gets hot here in summer in Sweden, and it doesn't really get dark. And I probably like summer the least out of all the seasons, partly because everybody else likes it the most, and I'm just being difficult, but also it's very, very light. You kind of expected to go and have a lot of fun and go to things and do sociable stuff, which I really enjoy sometimes. But I also just really love working a lot. And people find me some kind of freak that I like to read books and write books in the summertime when everybody else is having a barbecue down at the beach. And I love doing that too, especially with my best friends. But I'm just not massively sociable. I have my work to do, you know. I want to write my stories. That's what I do. So I find summer a little bit challenging sometimes when I'm not that sociable, and that kind of offensive to people, or people find it weird, but I still love it. I love the long nights. I love playing football with my boy in the forest. I love the first chanterelles that we forage, these little golden mushrooms in the woods, and we can pick kilos and kilos and kilos. They keep us going, honestly. We save a fortune through summer, autumn, tons and tons of free mushrooms. I'll talk more about mushroom picking in another video, but we love summer mushrooms. And then autumn comes, and it's kind of I like autumn because it means we're getting darker again and I can start working harder again. So I like autumn. It's very damp here. It gets cold. Sometimes we have some early snowfall. The insects and the nature just gets big in autumn. Like, I really see this. The moose get big. My cat gets freaking enormous. My cat doubles in size. He becomes the super raccoon, the mega raccoon. Like the T-Rex of Norwegian forest cats. He gets massive. I don't know, dragonflies get really long, start kind of following me around. And the rats as well. Monty will find rats. Monty the bear cat, he'll find rats or mice. They're kind of forest mice. And they're normally small, and then they get big and what the furry and juicy with like attitude in the autumn. So it's a weird time of year in the forest. But huge amounts of mushrooms, huge amounts of berries as well. Summer, autumn, we eat a lot of berries. We forage a lot of wild berries. Feels good, feels healthy, feels delicious. It is delicious. We're not very good at picking lingonberries. Yum. Which is like the traditional Swedish winter berry that you pickle or that you make jam out of. But we do like wild raspberries, wild raspberries in, what is that, July, August. Wild strawberries in June. Love it. Black currants, white currants, red currants. And then logs. Like my whole year is kind of revolves around preparing my log piles. If you'd like to see me chopping wood, preparing a tree, and like erecting a log pile, write in the comments below and I'll make it happen at some point. But I need to chop a lot of wood per year to keep us going. We have some electricity here, but it's very iffy. We get a lot of power cuts. and we do a lot of our heating and cooking and things like that, heating water from log power. So I need to cut a lot of timber, and we have unlimited amounts of wood, so that's great. And I like to use an axe because I'm okay with a chainsaw. I'm average with a chainsaw. I'm not like native with a chainsaw. I'm okay with a chainsaw, but there's something about like the vibrations of it and the fumes and I use it when I need to, but I use an axe for 90% of my work. I have a cutting axe, a splitting axe, and a small hatchet. And with those 3 axes I can do pretty much everything I need to do. And then I'll build this big wood pile. And I love spending half a day with my axe because it just means that I don't know, I feel like I'm getting a lot of fresh air, I'm building something, I get that smell of pine or a birch, that smell of timber, which I love. I get my hands on the wood, which I love, and I'm exhausted at the end of half a day cutting wood. I don't have like a hydraulic log splitter or anything like that. I like to do it by hand with an axe, and that's good. There's no gym in the woods, so I have to do something, so that is what I do, and I really, really enjoy it. And I can have like an audio book on in the background on a Bluetooth speaker. Fantastic. I'm happy doing that. I'm genuinely fulfilled being alone in the woods chopping wood with an audio book. What could be better? Alright guys, if you've enjoyed this video, please, and then there's the elk. Sorry. The elk hunting season starts in like September, October, and suddenly you see a lot of hunters out, they're shooting elk. I don't hunt, I do not own a gun. But it's interesting to see the hunters. I must say it's like a totally different thing than UK hunting. It's not an elitist sport. It's more of a thing you do with your mate and your dog. You bring down an elk, you do all the things you need to do, and then you eat it for the rest of the winter. So I kind of understand it. I respect it. I don't do it. I wouldn't want to pull the trigger and kill an elk. That's just a personal choice. But I think the hunting here is fairly ethical. They're not just taking the antlers, they're eating the entire animal. I think that's probably okay. But if you disagree, that's fine. Let me know in the comments below. Happy to have a debate on the whole hunting thing. Happy to rethink. Happy to talk. Happy to listen. Okay, that's kind of my year in the woods. If you want more detail, please do ask questions in the comments. Please do make suggestions for other videos and I will be happy to oblige. Like this video, hit subscribe, and I will be back in the next one. I'll see you soon. Bye bye.